Jin, the eldest member of BTS, has once again proven his unrivaled influence in both music and fashion, as he is now being recognized by American media outlets as one of the richest idols in the world. Following his highly publicized appearance at Milan Fashion Week, Jin's name has dominated headlines not only in Korea but across the United States, where industry experts are openly acknowledging his growing fortune and global brand power. According to Forbes US and Variety, Jin's wealth is no longer confined to his music career. His expanding portfolio includes endorsements with Gucci, Fred Jewelry, and Alo Yoga, as well as food industry partnerships like Odagi's Jin Ramen and Dongwon Tuna. These deals, combined with royalties from his solo albums Happy 2024 and Echo 2025, have cemented Jin's financial standing among the elite in entertainment. Analysts estimate that his net worth has surged dramatically in just over a year since his military discharge in June 2024. What makes Jin's recognition in the US particularly notable is the fact that American media, traditionally focused on Hollywood stars, now acknowledges his name alongside global icons like Rihanna, Jay-Z, and Taylor Swift in discussions of wealth and influence. Billboard described him as the blueprint for the next generation of global celebrity wealth, an artist who combines artistry with business acumen. Jin's recent Milan appearance amplified this narrative. His presence at Gucci's The Tiger premiere overshadowed even established Hollywood celebrities, drawing praise for both his sophisticated style and his commercial impact. US fashion analysts noted that Gucci's online traffic spiked significantly during the event, attributing much of the surge to Jin's global influence. American fans also expressed pride at seeing their media outlets finally recognizing Jin's financial power. Hashtags like #RichestIdolJin and #BillionaireJin trended on social platforms, with supporters highlighting how Jin's journey reflects years of dedication, talent, and strategic growth for Jin himself. However, wealth seems secondary to his artistry and connection with fans. In a recent interview with Elle Korea, he emphasized, "I just want to continue creating music and moments that ARMY can be proud of." Still, US media's acknowledgement of his rising financial status signals a major cultural shift, proof that K-pop idols can now stand toe-to-toe with the world's richest and most powerful celebrities. The US entertainment industry has long been dominated by names like Jay-Z, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, and Beyoncé, who have not only shaped culture, but also built multi-billion-dollar business empires. Yet now, analysts in America are openly acknowledging that Jin of BTS belongs in this very conversation, and perhaps represents the future of global celebrity wealth. Forbes US noted that while Rihanna leveraged her fanbase to build Fenty into a billion-dollar brand, Jin's influence is rooted in the ARMY, a fandom with unmatched loyalty and global reach. Unlike many Western celebrities, Jin's brand power spans 3 continents simultaneously: Asia, Europe, and North America. That global balance is what Variety called a new model of wealth creation, driven by fandom economies rather than traditional Hollywood ecosystems. Numbers don't lie, and in Milan, Jin provided proof. According to data cited by Bloomberg, Jin's appearance at Gucci's The Tiger premiere generated more than $12 million in media impact value within 48 hours, outperforming multiple Hollywood names present at the same event. For comparison, Edward Norton and Demi Moore, both part of the Gucci film project, garnered less than half the engagement Jin did across social and digital platforms. This surge has forced US fashion journalists to admit that Jin is not only a global ambassador, he is a market mover. When Jin wears Gucci, products don't just trend, they sell out globally, wrote the New York Times style desk. That's the kind of influence even Hollywood's biggest names struggle to replicate. American media continues to highlight Jin's growing wealth with a mix of awe and unease. The Wall Street Journal described him as the most fascinating economic story in entertainment since Rihanna's Fendi, while Billboard speculated that Jin could reach billionaire status within the next decade if his solo career, endorsements, and business ventures continue on their current trajectory. CNN's Pop Style segment even asked bluntly, "Is Jin about to surpass America's own icons in both cultural and financial clout?" A question that went viral across TikTok and Twitter, sparking heated debates among fans of both K-pop and Hollywood. What truly shocks American commentators is not just Jin's rising net worth, but what it represents: a global shift of cultural power. For decades, Hollywood set the standard of who could be considered rich, powerful, and iconic. Now, with Jin at the forefront, the global entertainment stage is no longer dictated by Los Angeles alone. Seoul and Milan, with Jin as their symbol, are rewriting the rules. One particularly striking editorial from Business Insider concluded, Jin is showing us a future where the world doesn't wait for Hollywood to crown its next superstar. Instead, global fandoms create their own kings, and right now, Jin is wearing the crown. The ARMY, Jin's global fanbase, is already embracing this narrative. Across America, hashtags like #JinTheMogul and #RichestIdolJin have been trending, often with side-by-side comparisons to Rihanna, Jay-Z, and Taylor Swift. European fans echoed this sentiment, calling him the Prince of Milan after his dominating presence at Fashion Week. Meanwhile, Korean media proudly framed Jin as a symbol of national achievement, an artist who not only excelled in music but also conquered fashion and business on a global scale. In the end, Jin's wealth is more than just numbers on a balance sheet. It is the story of how K-pop redefined the economics of celebrity culture, challenging Hollywood's monopoly and opening the doors for a new generation of idols to become global moguls. For American media, the message is clear. Jin is no longer just part of BTS. He is an empire in himself, one whose influence can no longer be ignored, and whose wealth places him among the most powerful celebrities alive today. What makes Jin's financial success so extraordinary isn't just the scale of his earnings, it's the symbolism. His wealth signals a turning point in the global balance of celebrity power. For decades, the United States dominated entertainment, with Hollywood and the American music industry setting the benchmarks for success. Now, Jin BTS, a K-pop idol from South Korea, is rewriting those rules before the world's eyes. American commentators are calling it a wake-up call. Rolling Stone reported, Jin has done in less than 2 years what many American stars take decades to achieve: diversify influence into music, fashion, and business while maintaining global cultural dominance. Even in the US business community, Jin's rise is drawing unprecedented attention. Tech investors in Silicon Valley are reportedly studying the ARMY fandom model as an economic engine, asking whether other industries can replicate the kind of loyalty Jin commands. A Bloomberg opinion column compared ARMY's global mobilization to a decentralized Fortune 500 marketing machine, suggesting that Jin's influence is as powerful as an entire corporation. Meanwhile, analysts in Wall Street began calling Jin's market impact the Seokjin effect, a phrase describing how brands associated with him see instant spikes in visibility, sales, and market value. For Gucci, Jin's Milan Fashion Week appearance wasn't just a fashion moment, it was a financial event. Comparisons with American moguls continue to flood headlines. Forbes US has suggested Jin's trajectory could place him alongside, or even ahead of, Rihanna, Kylie Jenner, and Jay-Z within the next decade. But what makes Jin unique is the fact that his rise has been organic and fan-driven rather than primarily investor-backed. Taylor Swift, widely regarded as one of the wealthiest and most powerful musicians in the US, was even mentioned in Billboard's analysis. If Swift built her empire through songwriting and tours, Jin is building his through cross-industry dominance. His expansion into fashion and lifestyle is creating an empire unlike any seen in American entertainment. In New York, Times Square screens featured Jin's face after the news broke of his Milan triumph and growing wealth. In Los Angeles, American Army gathered outside the Gucci flagship store to celebrate what they called a historic shift in fashion power. In London and Paris, fans organized pop-up exhibitions displaying Jin's most iconic fashion looks, framing him as a cultural monarch of the global stage. American media outlets admitted that these fan-driven displays of loyalty, combined with Jin's personal charm and professionalism, have cemented him as not just a celebrity, but a living global brand. CNN Style summarized it best: Jin isn't only wearing Gucci, he has become Gucci. What shocks many US observers is how fast Jin has climbed to this level. Just over a year ago, he was completing mandatory military service. Now, he is at the top of global fashion, celebrated by international media as one of the wealthiest idols, with a portfolio that spans food, fashion, music, and beyond. For many in America, this is the first time a non-Western star has been recognized as a true contender for the celebrity billionaire label. Business Insider called it the clearest sign yet that K-pop has gone from cultural export to global economic force. Jin's transformation from a singer-songwriter to a fashion ambassador and multi-industry mogul is more than a personal victory.